Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. So before I start this video, I wanted to let you guys know that I'm going to be doing a Q&A video. So I put it on my Instagram and Facebook, and I'm just letting you guys know. So if you guys have any questions and want some answers to, comment down below or message me on social media. Honestly, I would do my best to answer them all, and I'm an open book, so feel free if you have any questions about me personally, about my journey that you've heard so far, or just some fun, silly questions. So let's get into this video. Honestly, I was debating whether or not to actually kind of post and also put it out there that this happened. I mean, a few years ago, more than that, I would say close to 10 years, after I, left high school. Yeah, it's been 10 years because it was a year after, so 9, that this actually happened. And I did put it on Facebook. Sorry, that's what I was trying to get to. And I kind of like buried it. Like, I didn't like delete it or anything. It's just that I've only talked about it the once, and I thought I'd leave it alone. But since last video and my story so far, I actually thought I'd, put this out there, because what happened really made me feel not uneased, but, well, a little bit, but also kind of like it made me scratch my head a little bit, and honestly thought this was a joke. Turns out it wasn't. So let's go back 9 years. 9 years ago, I got a letter in the mail, and it was from my high school. So now what happened was, when I was changing programs, they needed your all this official paperwork from your high school, so all your high grades, and it had to get this seal on it and stuff. And I went there to ask for it, and they were very snotty, of course, about it. And they gave me a photocopy of it, but it needed to be the actual thing. So I guess copies are made of the real thing, if that makes so. Multiples are printed or created of your diploma, of your grades and all that stuff. Well, that's how it works here. So they mailed out the actual I guess copy of it, of I don't know. Anyways, all I know is that there was the original documentation, I guess, and those copies of the original documentation. Very confusing, I know, but that's how it is. So anyways, so I thought that that's what it was. Turns out it actually was. However, there was a note/letter in it. And again, it kind of at first, oh my god, let me get comfortable. At first I thought this was bullshit, but it was from my high school. There was documentation from my high school, the diplomas and whatever else I needed, and it was from my high school. So I know it wasn't too much of a joke, and it was anonymous, whatever. Okay. So it wasn't stated who it was from, but the context of the letter, I knew who it was from. So this letter was from a teacher, and I know it was a she, and basically she was trying to apologize for I guess her part that she did towards me. Like, it wasn't like an apology of, this is why, like, my last video I said no one's like apologized or whatever, because I didn't take this as an apology. It was completely bullshit, because it started off like, I've been thinking of what was happening, and it's been weighing on me, and I like, she kind of went into like saying, I'm sorry, but however, your actions cost you dearly. Like, it was basically, she was putting it on me, that it was my fault, that um like the things that I was doing was just causing too much attention and stuff, and like she was kind of chasing some of my abusers, which is highly inappropriate. But like I stated a few videos ago, she would jokingly say this out loud, saying if she was younger she would sleep with them. Like, that's not bullshit, that's just how it was. And to me, it was like completely bullshit, because attached to this letter was an invitation. So like, the year after I graduate was the 25th anniversary, 25th or 30th anniversary, whatever, it's up there, of like the high school I went to's anniversary of being built. So like, all the past and current students were gonna come together, and they were gonna like have this big party and like talk and stuff, and you would be able to meet like the elders and all that stuff. And basically, this was stated that I wasn't invited. Like, my name wasn't put on the list, but she like vouched for me and said that like, oh, you know, we should, like, it was really half-assed and like really inappropriate. Of like, basically she said like I owed her one because she like gave me an invitation so like I could come. However, like, I had to follow these guidelines and stuff. Like, I wasn't allowed to talk about my time at like my high school, of like what I went through. Like, I just had to be like this goody two shoe because I was like a high honor student, so like I was gonna be like an ambassador, and I was gonna able to have like dinner with all these like, I guess like the founders, like not the founders, but like the first original teachers and principals and all that stuff. Like, I was going to be able to meet them, but like I couldn't really talk about my experience. Like, I had to pretend to be somebody I wasn't, and it was really stupid. Like, I wish this was bullshit. Unfortunately it's not. Like, and I wasn't surprised at this either. So okay, let's back this up. So like, the teacher tried to apologize, so she was trying to like clear her conscience, I guess. However, it wasn't really an apology. Like, it was mostly her blaming me, saying like, oh, you know, it was your actions and stuff, and like, oh, you know, basically she was kind of like jealous. It was weird how it came across, of like, she was kind of jealous of like the attention that the six gave me. It was really uncomfortable. And then like, so the school wasn't even going to invite me to this anniversary, even though like I was like a high honored student. I was a student at that high school. I wasn't going to be invited because of like all the shit happened prior. And but she kind of vouched for me, so I owed her one of like being invited, but like I had to follow all these guidelines. And honestly, I didn't go. I did not go. Well, multiple reasons. A, I was suffering from major PTSD. I just did not feel comfortable going around pretending to be somebody I'm not, first of all, and walking those halls of like like that had so much shit happen in. And like, I would not be welcomed there at all. Like, this was just like I don't know. I don't even know what it was. It was just a cluster fuck basically of like them trying to cover their ass but not trying to cover their ass. Like they wanted to like cut the problem out, which would be me, but then again, I guess whatever. It was just like it just infuriated me so much that like this happened. Okay? And what I mean by this is like I got invited, okay? But then like a week later, I got another letter stating that they kind of reversed it. So they're like, well, you're not welcome anymore. That they thought about it and it would just be too much, I guess, bullshit and drama, that I wasn't allowed. I was not allowed to step foot into that building. And this pissed me off a little bit. Okay, so let me back this up. So a few months prior, like I did that video about me going back and, you know, because I got invited or whatever. It was just that weird thing that I went back and, you know, I shared all my feelings with that. So this was after that happened, okay? So, like, I got invited and then I got uninvited. And basically it was like this half-assed thing of like, of just like, oh, your actions and stuff, we just think that it's not gonna be like good for students to see you or staff to see you. It was just like this really bullshit explanation of like, oh yeah, just don't come because nobody wants to see you, nobody wants you to be part of this type of thing. But they didn't put it that way. Like, read between the lines, but they want to do it like politically correct type thing of like, oh, you know, just for your safety and whatnot. And to me, that was like a punch in the lady bits. And like, it was just like another thing like stamped. Like, to me, this sounds like such bullshit, and it sounds like something that was pulled out of my ass and the clouds and whatnot. But this shit really happened. And that's what blows my mind still. Like, this shit happened. Like, what? Like, oh my god. So, like, at the time, I was, like, 19, 20? That age, like, so less than 10 years. You're right. But, like, really? Like, just it baffles my mind of like how adults like could play this game of like, oh, you're invited, but now you're not because like we don't want to deal with this bullshit. Like, why take away my rights to like decide whether or not I wanted to come? Like, why not just leave it up to me? But no, they had to take that away. Like, but like it was like this kind of like mind fuck. It's like, oh, you're invited, but a week later, oh no, you're not. We made a mistake. Like basically saying like you're a mistake of a student type of thing, right? And like I wasn't gonna go either way because like I stated, like there was so many reasons why, and like I knew I would be unwanted and they would try to get me out of there as soon as possible. And it made me sad. And it makes me sad thinking about it. Like, guys, I'm okay. It just makes me sad to think about, like, I got a lot of my rights taken away, like, as a human being and student during those full 4 years. And then, so I didn't really have, like, a high school experience. Like, I was never one of those people to, like, look at a TV show, excuse me, sorry, that was, to look at a TV show and, like, fantasize about, oh, rainbows and butterflies and high schools and jocks and blah, 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 blah. Like, I was none of those. I was not one of those girls to, like, have this picture perfect, like, high school experience pictured in my mind. Like, that, to me, that wasn't logical before stepping foot in high school, before any of this started. So I went in with a very open mind. I didn't have, like, I did have, like, that list of things, like, I wanted to accomplish, right? But to get to my goals and stuff of my list that went to shit, um, I was really logical of things, of saying, like, okay, things would change, things would happen, you know, different circumstances might come up, right? But stick to your goals type of thing. But I was very logical in the aspect of, like, shit might happen, right? Shit might not go as planned. However, I did not realize it was going to go that much off the course of, like, wow, right? And so to not even get, like, the chance to, I don't know, this is a very hard thing to explain, and I'm trying to get it out as best as I can. Like, to not even give me that chance to, like, hear what my high school experience could have been like. You know, like, I know how weird that sounds. And I was curious, honestly. A part of me was curious of, like, wanting to look through somebody's eyes that went through the same high school, maybe not the same year or whatnot, but to see what they saw. Like, because, like I said in my last video, like, 99.9% of the time, I've heard nothing but good stories of people that went to that high school. I mean, some of it was a little, you know, crazy and whatnot, and, you know, drama and all that stuff, but I mean, teenagers. But a lot of it was good, and, like, laughter and all that stuff. And I was always curious to see, like, to hear stories and kind of see it through somebody else's eyes, right? That had a good experience, that had those choices, that, like, had good friendships, that had good communication skills with, like, staff members, right? And who, like, got support, and who got the chance to experience clubs and trips and the full round of a high school experience, you know, the good, the bad, all of it. And I was always curious to, like, to hear from, like, you know, different times, like, different years and experience. Like, it would be really, really interesting to hear. And a part of me was always, like, curious about that, right? And to have that kind of, like, that choice ripped from me of saying, like, you're not welcome at all, like, we don't want you to be a part of this, like, basically to stamp me out of existence in that school, right? Was a really hard punch to the lady bits, and a hard pill to swallow. Not that, like, I didn't expect it or whatever, it was just a hard thing to process. And again, like, I was in that weird 19 to 20 age gap, you know, doing the college experience and all that stuff, and just to have, like, a piece of your past kind of, like, decided that, nope, like, you can't go back, you can't, you know, hear other stories, you can't be a part of it because they don't want you to be a part of it. It had me thinking, it had me processing, like, was I really that much of a horrible human being? Right? Like, that was a heavy, like, weight to carry and question of like, was I this nasty human being that they're like picturing me as? Was I this like crazy bitch? Was I this whore? Like, I was like questioning my choices and decisions and going back and processing and like going over every step, and I was going fucking crazy. I'm like, you know what? This is what they want. They want to drive you fucking crazy. Like, this is just one last like nudge to maybe drive you over the edge, right? And I had to stop myself from going down that like twisted path of guilt and blame. And I put it on the back shelf until I was able to take a deep breath, go back and process and go through all of it. And I came out realizing that no, I was not this horrible human being. You know, I tried to continue to be a nice, respectful human being throughout it all. You know, I never once turned into this nasty, crazy ex-girlfriend that they made me out to be, you know. My thing was that I survived. That, like, I did stuff. Yes, did I do some stuff that was not ladylike? Of course. Did I did some things that were questionable? Yes. But it was never to hurt somebody else. It was more so to hurt myself or to protect myself. Did not come out in the best way. But I never did something to spite somebody. I never did something to hurt somebody. You know? And, like, to still have that, like, need to kind of, like, smush somebody, to smush a soul, to smush, like, a human being. And they haven't even, like, they've been out of your school, your community, for a good 1.5 to 2 years, given that gap. And to still spite that human being, to still want to, like, be mean and cruel to that human, to, I don't know, take away everything from her high school experience. Like, it has a lot of questions in my mind that, you know, I don't stay up late at night wondering. It just, like, really, it makes me kind of question, like, these human beings. Like, I don't know. It to me, it answered a lot of questions and also left a lot of questions, if that makes any sense, right? It just left a lot of, like, emptiness, right? And to me, like, I've honestly, like, guys, I can sit here and talk about all of this crap. It doesn't bother me. Like, yes, it still kind of frustrates me, but it's not going to send me down a dark spiral of depression or anxiety or PTSD. This is not a trigger. This is just to bring awareness to, like, situations that I guess weren't made right. Right? That it just, I don't know, you know, it just kind of leaves that question of, like, what the fuck? Like, I know somebody is probably watching this video and be like, okay, you were a good liar. Like, this has to be fucking made up. Like, this is just, like, fiction. This is just pulled out of the ass. Like, you just wanted to sit here and tell a story. Believe me, I want this to be, but it's not. And this is why it's kind of taken me such a long time to talk about all this stuff. Because honestly, if you take a sane person, sit them down, and, like, have them watch these videos, it's kind of like, it's mind-baffling, right? So I can't imagine you guys sitting here watching these videos and being like, really? like questioning everything, right? And this was like one of my major things. Like, if I ever start talking about this, people are never going to believe me. First of all, I was told nobody was going to believe me. Second of all, it sounds so fucking crazy that this one human being went through so much shit from different angles, and they're sitting here talking about it, and they're okay. You know, that's mind-blowing. So it has to be made up, right? And again, I know how crazy this sounds, and I really wish from the bottom of my heart that this was something I pulled out of my ass, but unfortunately it's not. First of all, I'm just not that type of human being to make up such cool and dark things. I would never do that. And again, a lot of you don't know me, so I kind of have to prove that, and I totally respect that, and like, you know, I totally believe where you guys are coming from with that. Like, it does sound crazy. It does sound so far-fetched. But in essence, it's not. Like, again, this happened 10 years ago, guys. And yes, things have changed. And again, 10 years is a decade. That's not a long time. A lot of shit can happen in a decade. And you know, I honestly hope to God that things have changed and nobody has gone through something that I have gone through. Because it's fucking crazy. But yeah, it is just a roller coaster of like BS. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna leave this video here. Feel free to leave questions and I will do my best to answer them in my next video that I'm gonna be filming. I appreciate you guys sticking around on this crazy roller coaster of a journey. And we can do this. We got this, guys. We are almost at the end of 2020. Hopefully 2021 will be bigger and brighter and less crazy. Anyways, guys, remember, never give up. Always keep fighting. You are enough, and you are very much loved. Until the next video, guys, I love you guys. Stay safe.